Just getting started or feeling stuck? Wherever you're at, the VO Dojo is here to help you take your voiceover career all the way. Get the training, support, and connection you need to guide you every step of the way from I don't know to working pro. You get a rock-solid foundation and all the tools you need for your sustained, successful voiceover career. Mindset, skill set, and real-world experience, all in a hands-on, hearts-in, supportive community. Join us at thevodojo.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VO Dojo's Get to Know VO. This is a free monthly informational call that we do on the third Wednesday of each month. So if you don't have it already, you can put it on as a destination. If you're busy on the third Wednesday, you can always sign up and listen as a replay, as a podcast. But so glad you're all here. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo, which is based in Burbank, California, although I happen to be wintering in Chicago for a few weeks, starting a new trend. My hometown. And today we are super excited to start this year with getting to know VO and focusing today about getting to know the dojo. We're joined by our fabulous team of super amazing senseis. I'm thinking of the metaphor. If the dojo is the heart, right? If the dojo is a heart, the senseis are kind of like the ventricles or something like that. Like we keep things going and pumping through. So as we begin, would love to hear where you guys are, where you're located, and where you are on your journeys. That's always a good thing. I know we've got some people who are already part of the dojo, and we're also joined by our team here, 𝗧𝗶𝗺, and Anderson Stinson is here as a Pathfinder, and he's also here as a dojo member who really embodies what this place is about and what can happen when you're a part of it. So we'll hear from Anderson as well. So the idea here is we're going to have the senseis introduce ourselves and talk about their path to here, both in their career and being part of their path to teaching. We'll talk a little bit about what the dojo is about and what we do here, and what it means to be part of a connected community with a structure, and what a difference that can make in your career. And then we'd love to hear what questions you have, and if I'll just put this in the hopper as we begin, because we'd love to open it up to the question of what's the biggest thing that's stopping you right now in your career, and then maybe the senseis can offer insights. So why don't we get started? Senseis, we're joined by, let's see, Sensei Steph Riggio in Prescott, Arizona. Sensei Campion, Catherine Campion, newly based in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Sensei Terri Nicole in Atlanta, and Sensei Shannon in Los Angeles, and Anderson's in Atlanta as well, and Kelsey's in Dallas, Texas. Who would like to begin telling a little bit about you and what your journey is, and what you bring, what are your superpowers that you bring to the dojo? Who'd like to begin? This is how we do it in when we're working together. Sensei cat.
I'll go first because I think I have seniority. Yes, Catherine Campion in just 3 months ago moved from my hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota to Ann Arbor, Michigan after 15 years in Los Angeles, which is where I met Tish. Been with the dojo for just about exactly 5 years since it went virtual. And I've been making a living as an actress since I was a teenager. I feel it looks like I'm wearing sunglasses in here, but I'm definitely not. But it is pretty bright out, snow blind. Oh yeah, and I'm flying to LA tomorrow to get some sunshine because we're getting a deep freeze and blizzards here this week. And I've been working as a professional actress since I was a teenager. I started with theater and then on camera, movies, TV, commercials, and then I've been doing primarily voiceover for about 20 years. I do commercials, documentaries, narration, telephone answering systems, just about anything if they pay appropriate rates. And my superpower, I nerd out on coaching the business of voiceover. So, the dojo is very all-encompassing. We cover every aspect from tech to, meeting agents, getting your demos together, making sure your performance is up to speed, direction, self-direction. And I just really nerd out on helping people level up professionally, financially, but with portfolio diversification. And it's just such a nice family. It's so cool to see like current members on here just coming to support and cheer us on. It really is a family. And we have so many tendrils out there where we're all kind of keeping in touch with each other. And yeah, let me know if anyone has any questions afterwards. And we'll pass it maybe to Sensei Stephanie. I think you're
Yeah,
next
and
anyway.
I
Yeah.
think also, Kat, I don't know if you mentioned your international, but as
Oh,
you move from major market, you've
yeah.
taken your, you really have an insight about the international market. Can you say just a touch about that? Because I think that's really
Yeah.
powerful about the whole thing about being able to do this work from wherever
Thank
you
you.
are with
Yeah.
whomever around the
Yeah, you
world.
can do it from wherever you are and you can work with people wherever they are. So I call it portfolio diversification. My dad was an investment banker and my mom was a real estate agent. So they really instilled in me like that business mentality. So I think a lot of people and a lot of schools in the US sort of focus on the US market. And I don't think we need to do that anymore. Everything can be done virtually. So I have big ongoing clients all over Europe, the Middle East, like other markets that pay as well or even better than the United States. I get paid in all different currencies, so I like to keep my money in different pots so that it's financial portfolio security. And another thing I'm really into is booking without auditioning. If that kind of blows your mind, there are a lot of countries, a lot of markets where the industry standard is to book off of your demos. We put all this time and money into making an amazing demo to showcase our abilities, and then we're still expected to audition for every little three-figure gig. So I'm trying to be the change I want to see in the industry by letting agents and rosters and stuff know that this is the way it's being done out of the United States. So I love teaching people how to, book stuff just repeatedly off their demos and not have to do the unpaid labor of auditioning all day, every day.
Yeah, good, good, good. Excellent. Let's go to Sensei Steph. It looks like they're rendering the porta. Sensei Steph in Prescott, Arizona.
I know. I know. It always feels weird to say where I am because well, my name is Stephanie Riggio. I am born and raised Los Angeles, and that's where I also got my training. That's where I met Kat and Shannon back in the day. Tish and I
Mhm.
actually are both Northwestern University graduates,
Mhm.
speaking of Illinois. And I've been living in Prescott, Arizona, or Prescott for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, just to try something different, because that's something that's nice that you can do. You can kind of switch around. Not sure if I'm going to end up internationally next year. It's all kind of up in the air. But in the meantime, I have different agents all over the place. I do a little bit of everything. I kind of specialize these days more in commercial work and different. I always say that it's exciting, when you get sent things that you end up seeing on TV, whether or not you book it, then you're like, well, at least I got to be in the running, I got to throw my hat in the ring. I also am a singer. I'm a former radio disc jockey, former theater person. And so part of, so a lot of the stuff I do from animation to industrial, sometimes incorporate some of those different things. But one of my superpowers, I think, is I really try to come at everything with a very, I don't want to say artsy fartsy, but it's this idea of really incorporating your body and, getting out of overthinking, because it's sort of this fine balance between understanding the technique of things that we do. And we have that with the dojo, picking and choosing what works for you, what feels right, and getting your body involved, and kind of being open to this idea. Because as a former radio DJ, I was always wearing headphones, so I was listening to my own dulcet tones and listening to how I sounded rather than what I was saying. And so it's a really big deal for me. And you'll notice as you work with me, if you decide to join on in the dojo way. Well, that sounds like a cult. It's not. But, I'm sorry. Anyway, you'll notice that there's certain things that I always talk about, and one of the things I really just want people to feel comfortable. You're aware of a mic, but it kind of becomes invisible. There's different things like that. So I feel like that's one of my big things, is helping people who used to have a big theater background, and people maybe who were radio DJs, or just kind of used to hearing their own sounds or thinking something has to sound a certain way. So yeah, because that's a big deal. People still do that. We still do it. So anyway, super happy to be here. I've been with the dojo not as long as Kat, about the same length as Terri. I can't remember how many years that is. But yeah, it's great, because there's enough structure and enough for us to bring what we offer, because that's what voiceover is, right? People being their authentic selves. You be your authentic self, but you also know some of the parameters of the art form, right? So that's kind of like what I feel like as teachers. It's a similar situation as well, or senseis.
And you come from a background of educators, right? I think that's another thing that you bring to the party.
Big time. Both of my parents were teachers, and then after college, when I was young and had lots of energy, I was taking my voiceover workshops. I was working as a waitress, and I was also substitute teaching. And so and teaching theater, and started a children's theater group and all this stuff. So teaching is just kind of in my blood, about not just, teaching the big picture of something, not, teach a person to fish, right? That's the whole thing, instead of just showing them how to do it. Yeah. And there are lots of different degrees of teachers out in the world, especially, in voiceover. And not everybody really enjoys teaching, but we found a group of people here who still are working our professional lives, and still auditioning, and still working with our agents and doing that, and also happen to enjoy teaching, as opposed to, well, I'm not getting work, so I better start teaching. It's very distinct, because I know Tish and Kat and everybody, I've taken a lot of workshops through the decades, with some very, very good people, or people who are very talented, and they all bring something to it. But, you can feel when it's this energy of someone who actually really enjoys teaching. And, and Tish will know this reference. It reminds me of Frank Galati back at Northwestern. We had some incredibly successful theater directors, and there were some of them who also loved to teach. So it's something that I think we pride ourselves on here too.
And there's so many like points of discussion that I went like, oh yeah. So this is great. Thanks. Let's see, Sensei Terri, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everybody. So glad you guys came on here. The dojo is such a place of joy for me. I was once a dojo student, pre-pandemic. I was booking work on my own, meaning I had my shingle out and I was finding work, and I didn't even know there was a VO community. I didn't know there was a VO industry. And so I learned so much by coming into the dojo, and actually I learned how essential community is in terms of your career, not just like it feels good, but it also is that person telling you just in time. Like for me, early on, I had a meeting with actually, Tish, it was when I first met you in Atlanta. You had come and you were talking about the dojo. And I was like, this place sounds interesting. And an agent that everybody wanted to be with happened to be there. Anyway, it so happened in the course of months that this agent had people on the same job as I did. And Tish talked to me about how to use that opportunity to get, to approach him using that opportunity that we're on the same job about representation, and it worked. And that's not the first thing that has, or last thing that has happened in the dojo, is that you just have someone there to help your career catapult, right? To help you go, oh, I probably would have been like, oh, that's cool, but like, how can you leverage things? So it's that collective knowledge that's in not just the senseis, but we also believe we learn from our students too. We see our students go in different directions and take off, and we learn right along with our students. So just for me, my background is I'm a longtime teacher. I've always done acting since college, kind of on the side. So my teaching was first, and everything was on the side. And I did plays on the side, and I did print work on the side, and commercials on the side. And then one day I got a life coach, and she was like, all you talk about is writing books and dancing and being an actor. I was like, no, surely I talk about teaching, because I was like working on my PhD at the time in education. It's like, sure. And it was true. So I was like, what if I pursued something I was really passionate about? So that's how I ended up here. And I've been in business this year. It marks my 10th year in business, which I never thought I could run a business. I didn't think I was that type of person, that it was for other people. So with things like the dojo and giving you directions on not just agents, but like Kat said, the business side just shows you how to translate the things that you're really great with, and also to help you direct you in those areas that you may not like marketing, you may not, be comfortable just talking and reaching out to people. And with that support, we learn that. I also have a background in improv, which I did as part of, how many times do you get told that you need to do improv and acting in VO? All the time. And I almost got stuck in that world because I loved it. I loved being on stage and having to like take a suggestion and make a song out of it, with other people. And it was just magical. But I have that background. So one of the things that I love at the dojo is helping people get out of their comfort zone in a safe and encouraging way. And then seeing like them discover a side of themselves, like, oh, I can do that thing that I just said I couldn't do. Like, that is as a background in education as well, that's like, I live for that aha moment that people have. So I believe that we're here as senseis, not to be like, hello, today's lesson is, repeat after me, but it's like, we're like the guide on the side. Like, what is your passion? What kind of agent do you want? What kind of work do you want to be booking or expanding to, since you're already booking that? And that's sort of our role. I can talk forever about the dojo, but I will leave it there and wait to hear maybe what questions you all have.
Yeah, this is great. Oftentimes when we have that experience of like, holy buckets, there's a whole nother wing of the mansion we just opened up when we find those pathways. And yes, very good, very good. Again, so many things we could talk about. Let's get Sensei Shannon into the room. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Some of you I know, some of you are new, and it's so good to see everyone. Everything that everyone else said is how I feel. I'm grateful to be a part of the dojo. Thank you, Tish, for trusting me with the responsibility. I am the newest, I think. Well, I mean, apart from Anderson, but he's been in the program for such a long time. But I have only been with the like coaching here for maybe a year and a half or so. But I've known Tish forever. I started doing voiceover about 20 years ago. Stephanie and I had the same agent, so we would see each other in the waiting room. That's how we originally met, at Tisherman Agency, and that was in 2007-ish, 2008. And I have experience in all genres of voiceover. The only thing I don't do, I just haven't done, is audiobooks, simply because I enjoy reading, but I don't necessarily have the attention span to read an entire book. But I think you have to be like I think you have to just really love doing that, I think. And so my sort of what I want to say is my specialty or my passion. It's very similar to, well, everyone's, but Steph touched on this, is that acting is one thing. Actually, all of you did. I always encourage every one of you, if you don't have acting experience already, that's the core of everything. So improv classes, whether it's on camera, theatrical, whether it's commercial classes, absolutely recommend acting, really, theater acting, because that's the fundamentals. But I didn't come from a theater background. I came from being passionate about film and TV and having done a little bit of theater in high school, but I was always too shy to put myself out there in that way. And yet I was passionate about all things art. So I did study voiceover at a voiceover school and found that I was really good at it and that I really took to it. I really loved it. And I loved being able to express without having to worry about being on camera. As Steph said, the microphone is there, but you're just expressing. So to zero in on that, to me, it's like acting is a skill in itself, and that's very important. But so much of our acting abilities are only hindered by one thing, and that's our own blocks, our own stage fright, self-judgment, fear of being seen, right? Sandra, I know. It's not really, acting is just being. And if we're afraid to show ourselves and we're nervous about putting ourselves out there, we're going to hold back and shrink. And that's when we're going to start, as Steph said, speaking the way we think sounds, enjoying our dulcet tones. But there's really no emotional connection because you're so focused on, how do I sound? Well, anyone can sound nice reading. That's not what's going to get you the job. What's going to get you the job is your personality, your warmth, your unique energy imprint. And Tish talks about that too. It's energetic exchange. So my passion is helping people remove blocks to their fears, because I've been a lifelong anxiety sufferer, and only now have I sort of feel like I don't want to say mastered it, but I'm in a good place. And so I really like to kind of, without getting too personal and obviously respecting boundaries, I kind of like to do some psychological work with you when we work one-on-one, if that's your block, if you feel comfortable. I'm not forcing that on anybody, but I do kind of understand that. Also, I lost my voice for about 5 years. I had to stop doing voiceover, and that was around the pandemic, which is a huge part of what I'm talking about. I have muscle tension dysphonia, which is partly caused by actual reflux, not damage, but caused spasming in my vocal cords. But what I learned through the process is muscle tension dysphonia is also an emotional, a mind-body connection issue. So I was holding all this tension, not speaking up, perfectionism. I have to sound perfect. And I was making 6 figures in voiceover, but I wasn't using my true voice. I was using what I thought I should sound like. I can make money because I know what they want. As Tish says, it's not a they, it's a we. So what I've learned is how to you're just telling the truth, how you can read copy without reading copy. It's connecting with the copy, connecting with your listener. Why are you sharing this? I know it's corny, but it's like, what's your motivation? I mean, why are you sharing this information? And as long as you speak from the heart, if you believe it, I believe it. And so that's sort of a focus for me, is not just teaching the art of acting, although we all do that here. It's also, how can we just learn to be comfortable enough with ourselves where we're not afraid to speak up in front of people, and we're not judging ourselves, and remembering that it is a we. It's not a they versus us, it's a team. And all we're doing is giving them the gift of our presence. So literally love this job, love teaching. I'm so grateful that Tish asked me to do it. And it really is, it's important. And I love watching you all grow and thrive. And it inspires me too. As Terri said, it's not just you learning from us, we are learning from you just as much.
And you have another superpower in that you've worked on a lot of video games and animation stuff that I was.
Yeah, video games seem to be, I've just sort of fallen into it. It just seems to be what I love commercials and all that too, but video games for me, I don't know, just suits my skill set. It just, and so I love teaching and animation. I just happen to work a lot on video games, but it's kind of a lot of the same principles. And it's what Stephanie said, physicality is very involved in that, like getting there through movement and learning how to put yourself in this whole fantasy world where you're out on the battlefield and it's all imagination, but you have to feel it real. You have to believe it so that the audience believes it. And how do we embody that and take the listener into the world with us? It's pretend. It's playing pretend. Love it.
And getting paid. It's
Yeah,
great.
getting paid to do it.
This is fantastic. This team has been evolving, and this team embodies the from the heart approach that we take. Where's the heartbeat of this? Where's the heartbeat of this? And then this is also very smart, and we call it warriors of the light. So a very positive and anchored, grounded group of people who we've all been through a bunch of stuff, and we do this and we continue on. So we instill that in everybody. I'll say a quick bit about my journey. And how the dojo came, and then I would love to hear just make sure that everybody's here, that we're connected. But I'd love to hear what's resonating with you guys too. So I'm in my I think 31st year of being voiceover artist. I've been very blessed in having long-running campaigns. I was the voice of Citibank for 7 years. I've been one of the voices of Subaru for the last 15 years ongoingly. I work in all the genres. My background crossed the threshold into voiceover, combining theater training at Northwestern. I'm a trained opera singer. I did improv at Second City, Shakespeare. All of these things kind of were in this first crossing a threshold into voiceover. I call it the helicopter coming. In terms of my first break, a friend was a creative director and said, "Hey, I've got this job. Would you like to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And I left there going, "This is what I'm going to do." And then moved from Chicago to LA, and hit the ground running, going, "Who do you know? What do you know? What do you do?" So a lot of what has become the dojo was like, wait, what did I do when I was hit with the inspiration that this is what I'm doing, that I said this? What did I do when I was in that year of arriving in LA? And I was like, oh, well, I did this and I did this and I did this. So a lot of what we do here comes from that experience. And then about 15 years ago, Dojo is in its 15th year this year, had a similar epiphany, crossing the threshold into teaching and recognizing that, like, wow, this is something else that combines all of the other things that I've been doing, in addition to my acting, in addition to my voiceover, which was I'm not a professional kickboxer, but I've trained with Benny the Jet Urquidez, who's one of the legendary kickboxing instructors. So a lot of what we do at the dojo comes from my work of being part of the Jet's gym and Sensei Benny's world. His wife is one of my spiritual mentors, Sarah Eaglewoman, a medicine woman shaman who I've been working with for the last 25 years. And a lot of a lot of what we talk about at the dojo as foundational comes from that spiritual warrior of the light experience of what is the energy underneath the words. That's how we actually communicate. Dressage rider, like all of these things, what are you doing? And when I crossed the threshold into teaching, I was like, oh, okay. So how do we bring all of this together? So the dojo really is this combination of many, many years of all of these senseis experiences coming together. All of our journeys in terms of what it is to not only be a voiceover artist, but to be a human and to be business owners too. At the dojo, we talk about the ABCs of voiceover. It's an art form, it's a business, and we do it together in community, ABC. So we take a very holistic approach to all of this, mind, body, spirit. We have 7 areas of mastery that is infused from the very beginning of when you start working with us and onward. 7 areas of mastery. Mindset, first and foremost. We need to see it to be it. Mindset, skill set, tools, techniques, frameworks of analysis, hands-on real world experience. This is how it really is, babies, from the very beginning of our journey. This is how it really is. The technical, we have to be able to provide session ready recording from wherever we are. The physical and vocal and physical, the business and the community. So those 7 areas of mastery. Let's see. Actually, I want to check in how you guys are doing because we've shared a lot. Want to check in. Let me see if I can see y'all. I've got speaker view here. Let me just find you guys and see how you're doing, because that's the other thing. That's the other thing about this place, the dojo. We're here as I think someone said it. We're here as your guides. We're here to guide you and hold the space for you on your journey. What you think and know is always most important, and we're here together to amplify that, to keep on the trail together, keep on the trail. So it's not, Steph was teasing, oh, it's, the way of the way of the dojo sounds like a cult, but it's not. It really is. The word dojo means the place of the way. And so we're here to show the place of the way of voiceover, but it's not our way. It's not the way. It's being here so you can find your way and that we're all doing it together. Those are sort of the foundations of what we're doing. Yeah, so how's everyone doing? Everyone good? Everyone with us? And what we do when we come together and learn with and from each other is, I think, really what amplifies this experience. Like we all are, the nature of voiceover now more than ever is that it is solitary and isolated. We're in our little closets or our little boxes, and that's how we run our businesses and we interact. So we really take to heart, even though since the pandemic, we have gone virtual, which allows us to be connected with people around the country and around the world. Also, the business has kind of gone virtual. So what we do here is, how do we find this heartbeat? How do we find this connection? How do we find this integration of efforts in this virtual setting and have it be as impactful as if, I think there's, Anderson, it was only until kind of recently that we hadn't even met in person, right? Yeah. Yeah. So everyone good? Let us know let us know what's resonating with you in the chat. I would love to hear how you're doing, because we're not just here to talk. Let me show this little 30-second kind of overview of what we do and how the programs are structured. And then would love to introduce Anderson and share his part of the journey. And here's a 30-second kind of overview of what our programs look and feel like.
Just getting started or feeling stuck? Wherever you're at, the VO Dojo is here to help you take your voiceover career all the way. Get the training, support, and connection you need to guide you every step of the way. From I don't know to working pro. You get a rock-solid foundation and all the tools you need for your sustained, successful voiceover career. Mindset, skill set, and real-world experience, all in a hands-on, hearts-in, supportive community. Join us at thevodojo.com.
So that's that. We're talking about like wherever you are in your journey, we're here. So we have our working pro division and our development division and our working pro division. Starts with you should do voiceover, launchpad, and workout. And then our full training program, the Mystery to Mastery program, which is divided into, well, launchpad is actually the first of 5 belt levels. We take that martial arts model of development. So white belt is launchpad, opening your awareness. Yellow belt is exploration. Green belt is self-exploration. What are you bringing to the party? And that becomes your dojo preparation, or your demo preparation, sorry. And then blue belt is demo production. Let's take all this we've gathered about ourselves and make it into a product that we're going to bring to market. Brown belt is integration. How are you specifically, where you are, what you're doing, going to launch your business into the world? How are you going to be developing your business? And then you cross the threshold, you earn your black belt. Now you're ready. Now your work begins, and you cross the threshold into the working pro division, which we call the nth degree, like nth degree of like an nth degree black belt, first degree black belt in. So really recognizing that we start the journey at one place and that it kind of never ends. You know, we've been doing this for 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. And each day we have to step up and go, what am I doing? How am I doing it? What's going on with the business? Who am I? How do I bring myself to this? So it doesn't stop. And the idea here is, how do we always have some place and some people to be doing it with together? An nth degree has our nth degree career catapult, which we do twice a year. Ongoing nth degree is weekly workouts, focus action forums twice a month, and private coaching. And then we have our VO Pro Fight Club, which is our working pro workout that brings together top-notch talent and the decision makers who hire us in all different genres. 3 times a month, we bring you the opportunity to be working, meeting, understanding these people's processes, and they get to meet you as well. So that's kind of the full enchilada here. Yeah. So what do we have? Why don't we have Anderson? Can you talk about? Well, Anderson is part of the team as well, which is kind of not unusual when people are part of the dojo. Oftentimes we find the people who really resonate and that we have people join our team who get what we're doing here and how we're doing it. And Anderson, I think you embody that. So you've been a path guide with us, but you're also, I think, someone who just embodies the whole experience of what we're here for, of how to learn how to do this, how to become a working pro, and then how to take it to the highest levels of what's possible. So why don't you tell us your story, Anderson, and then would love to have you guys put your questions in, and we'll get your voices in the room and how we can support you guys. Yeah.
Sure. Well, hello. My name is Anderson Stinson III. I am one of the dojo's path guides. I'm also a black belt nth degree member.
Hey Anderson, can you turn your
Yes.
gain up a little bit?
Yeah, I can do that. Is that better?
Yeah.
Cool. So Dojo Path Guide, nth degree black belt member. I didn't have a background in acting growing up. I was a complete nerd. I did math and science and did science Olympiad, math Olympiad, all of that stuff. But then I went to college for also science. I was had a scholarship to do pre-med, and I accidentally joined a sketch comedy troupe, and then from there just immediately fell in love with acting. And throughout my time in college, I did theater and film work, whether that be like extracurricular stuff with friends, until I got into like smaller professional short films and commercials. And then my senior year, I was like, I haven't done voiceover before, so I'll check that out too. And someone referred me to the dojo, like the semester I was graduating, and I decided to do their You Should Do Voiceover course, which I think gave me a full, well-rounded approach to sort of the mindset and the equipment I should have, but also commercial, animation, narration, video games, everything. And me being a starving artist at the time, I couldn't do the other programs, but I was like, yeah, I'll see what I can do with that. And in the 2-3-ish years before I returned to the dojo, I had worked with Sony, Nike, Coca-Cola, had done a few indie projects and things like that, and it just was really cool to see what I had learned become something that showed up in my wallet, but also it was very strengthening to know that this program was already bringing so much before I even fully committed to the program. And then in fall of 2023, I decided to finally fully commit to the Mystery to Mastery program, where Tish volunteered that maybe I could start as a blue belt or brown belt because of my experience, but given my science and math background, I'm a sponge. I like knowing things, so I decided to start as a yellow belt and start from the beginning, all over again. And so as I went through the program, getting to work with all the senseis, learning individual things like the business, the psychology, the physical presence, the connection, everything I think was super helpful. Until finally, ironically enough, in the demo preparation part of the program, the Blue Belt program, I was scouted out by Cove Management, which is the first ever VO management company in the U.S. and has a pretty exclusive roster, me knowing nothing about them at the time and thinking when they reached out to me it was a scam. But it was awesome, just because everything that I felt like I was learning through the dojo was coming together. And earlier I said ironically because I didn't have a demo at the time they found me. And so it was just really cool showing that my marketing and my abilities and my skills and my talent that I had been able to curate over the years with myself, but also because of the dojo, led to me getting to work with some of the top agencies in the industry. And then after leaving the program, joining 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀, where I got to work with the senseis, but also other working professionals in the industry, which was a great opportunity to see what other people were doing. Until finally September 2024, I decided to go full-time, and now voiceover is completely what I do for a living. In the past year, I've been able to have my first six-figure year, and so that was awesome. And so every single day, just seeing how the dojo has sort of helped me create this business, it's honestly become a dream come true, and I've only been thankful. And so now I'm here just to hopefully help people find their path to find the same way.
Yeah. And Anderson's been really instrumental in continuing to build how we stay connected. He's an admin for our Discord community and really keeps the heartbeat of this virtual connection having a real vibrant life force to it. Like, we're on groups, but the Anderson's been really essential in bringing that heartbeat to the virtual part of what we're doing here. Yeah. So we've got we actually have we can go until like 11:30, so we have some time. We've got 10 minutes before the top of the hour if you have to leave, but we'd love to open it up and hear what we just told you all about us. If we were at a cocktail party, we would have said, tell me about you a little bit sooner. But this would be a great place for us, would love to hear. Tell us about you. Where are you on your journey? Where are you stuck on your journey? Where do you want to be on your journey? How can we be helpful in this moment? And then, hopefully the things that we've shared here, if you're interested, we'd love to have you talk to Anderson. I also wanted, before we jump in, I also wanted to introduce Another team member, one of our other path guides, who's also our working pro division producer, Melina Bielefeld. She can't be here today, but she also has been part of the dojo for a really long time, brings massive amount of theater background with all sorts of all sorts of really powerful artistic backgrounds. She's done Anne Bogart's program, Viewpoints, and things like that. So she brings a lot of that to the, and she keeps all of the nth degree alive and vibrantly going. So putting Melina's spirit and expertise and superpowers into the room as well. Yeah, so who are you guys? What you up to? Where are you stuck? Yeah. Oh, well, let's go to David and then James.
Hey folks, I'm David 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗦𝘀. Had the honor of being invited to be a part of the nth degree last year, and it might have been a little bit premature as I was in transition to Palm Springs. I know, big sympathy votes to me, but I've been establishing myself in Palm Springs, having retired from public radio, and just establishing a home studio and exploring the audiobook market, which is still elusive to me, but I'm all in on. I wanted to have some input from the senseis about a lot of times I've been auditioning steadily, both through my agency at Stars, which a couple of the sensei share with me for years. And as a radio host in San Francisco and having a steady job, the auditioning process was more of a, I'll have an audition. If it happens, it happens. But now that that radio job is gone, it's like, these auditions are starting to mean a little bit more, and I need to think more about marketing myself and becoming my own business rather than having this just as something peripheral. I think this past year was a bit premature for me because I was just trying to establish myself and a lot of turmoil in my personal life in terms of setting up things and ending a relationship. I'm happy to cry on someone's shoulder at some point about all that. Couple of things resonated with me being reintroduced to the sensei on the call today. One was about Shannon and her experience with improv, and it recalled an audition I had it had to be 15 years ago via Stars in San Francisco, where it was an on camera, and the producer wanted some improv, so they brought people in and say, okay, you're a husband and wife. Okay, go do something to get us to know each other. And I came from an improv background, of course, yes and this girl that I thankfully forgot her name and even the way she looks. But I said, "Oh, remember, honey, when we went on that trip to Puerto Rico?" And she said, "Oh, you hated that trip." It's like I was just like totally thrown for like, "Oh, and your mom came along. Oh, you never liked my mother." And I was just like totally thrown. So learning the art and the basics of improv, I think, is a very fundamental and important step for anyone involved in acting and the voiceover world. I'm curious about Terri being in Atlanta and the rest of the sensei and the big conference coming up in Atlanta for voiceover, whether it's something that for someone who has to reestablish himself in terms of my marketing materials, my website, et cetera, whether it's worth going to Atlanta or just hearing and listening to the previous conference recorded sessions. And one thing I want to do as I continue my journey through the nth degree, I've been told a lot of times, oh, you've got a great NPR voice, don't use it. Well, I want to explore work that exploits that voice. I don't want to be someone I'm not. So I want to explore those markets that like this voice, not that want some other kind of voice, whether that means I have to push aside commercial work. Fine. I'm happy to do documentaries. I'm happy to be an explainer for educational films or whatever. So that's my next steps in this whole nth degree. So hello, everyone. Look forward to learning more.
This is fantastic, David. And you just encapsulated why we need each other when we are doing this. Because you have all of this that you know already, that you have done, haven't done, it hasn't been done. Like, when we are alone in this, we're like, okay, and you said it all clearly, but Christ almighty, there's so much, and where do we know, and what do we do, and what do we, like, so everything you just did is why nth degree is. And you also articulated something, sometimes it's not yet the time, and then we bless it correct. Anderson said it wasn't yet the time, but now it sounds like it's more the time. You're settled, you've got your, things. And so now I think a lot of, like, when you step into, like, it's one thing to have an idea of, like, I'm going to go to the gym and then I'm going to da-da-da-da. And then there's showing up at 6 o'clock every morning and being at the gym, right? And then you know stuff about your body, and then you see the progress. So I think a lot of what you're saying, David, is we can't wait for you to start, because I think once you start, you're going to have a place to, first of all, have one of the things we talk about at the dojo is the 4 C's: consistency, continuity, connection, and community. And when we have these things, we can make those 1%, 1%, 1%. We can make that ongoing. We can see where we're headed. We can. Sensei Cat coined the phrase. We don't like to say "fake it till you make it." We say "see it till you be it." Right, and then be it till you see it. And so when we have that place to do these things on an ongoing basis, we're always going like, oh, where was I? Oh, where am I going? Oh, where was I? Oh, who else is doing this? How can I not do this alone? So I think there's a lot of that. Then the things that resonated with you, like Sensei Steph is here because you're coming from broadcast, and I always say it. If you come from broadcast, it's like the cousin of voiceover. You're in the family, but the rules are different. And so how do we shift what we can and own what is our superpowers in that? I'll give my take on voiceover Atlanta, and I would love to hear others. So there are. It used to be, and I always go like, back in the day, back when we started, we'd see each other at our agencies every day, and we had
the pictures that have gotten smaller.
Yeah. But the reality was there was this very, on a daily basis, communal experience of being at an agency with people who are working at a certain level, seeing each other every day, seeing the team every day. That is missing. So going to someplace live where everybody comes together, we get that sensibility. So there's value in that. It's not an inexpensive proposition to fly to another city, have a hotel, spend money on the event, maybe do some X sessions and stuff like that. It's not an inexpensive proposition. So always be aware of where you are in your revenue, what are you earning from voiceover, or what are you investing in your business, thinking of it that way. So there's something about immersing into it. And then there's that could be positive, and if it fits your budget, that's great.
I'm concerned about it being an overwhelming experience as well.
Oh, it's an overwhelming experience.
People. Oh my God.
It's an overwhelming experience. And then knowing who you are, right? Anderson, we became your anchor, your grounding place at VOA. Yeah. So those are my things. And then also having yourself ready to step into the ring. It might be better rather than coming with like all these questions, like maybe not go this year, but plan to go next year. Get yourself centered, get yourself on your path, and then jump in. That would be my take. But what are the senseis, other things that you would say about anything that David said? And then we'll go to James.
I would say that there are many voiceover conferences, and they all have something different that they specialize in. So I think first would be just to be really clear on what you need at this point in your career. As Tish said, they're all great for connecting with other voice actors. And honestly, connecting with other voice actors is super important. Sometimes that's how we do when work, right? Someone tells you about how they got with this agent or this job, or connect you with opportunities. VLN is totally overwhelming. It's self-titled the Super Bowl of voiceovers. So that gives you an idea. There's lots of different things happening simultaneously, which could be great depending on what kind of person you are. One thing that you mentioned was like that you want to lean into that side of the voice. And I know typically CNN has, I can't remember what it is they offer, but there's a woman who comes every year that I've been there from CNN, and she's like, send your demos, reach out for whatever segments it is that they use voice actors. So that's also something you could do from, if you have her connection, that you could do from home. The last thing I would say is, what is your business plan for the year, so to speak? And is a conference going to help you get there? There are many voice actors who show up at conferences to get discovered, to get seen, to get heard. And so that is one way you can approach a conference. And there are others who go to make sure they're touching base with their agents or fellow voice actors, or learning what's the state of the art in this, what's happening in this. And they'll go to panels and maybe not the classes. So one, if you have any plan what is it, if you don't know where you're going, like any route you take will get you there. But if you have a sense of like, hey, in my career I'm trying to branch out to documentaries, and there are some key players, I'm going to take that X session, which is like a 2-hour class that you pay more money, a couple more $100 for, or I'm going to make connections and make sure they know my face, so that as I climb this ladder, I know who to connect with. So I hope that's somewhat helpful.
Thanks, Terri. And it looks like if I could reserve your couch for next year, that'd be great. Looks like you got plenty of space.
People do stay here. They do crash here for VO Atlanta.
Steph, Shannon, Kat, any insights on that you'd share with David about what he shared? And we'll go on to James.
I actually was kind of needing to hear that for myself, because I was considering going this year, but I'm really trying to have a very intentional business plan for the year, and I have a certain budget. So I actually would have asked the same thing.
I'm sorry, who's this speaking?
Oh, this is Shannon, sorry.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think even where I'm at in my career now, I think I still have to, like Terri said, it's a matter of where do I want to allocate my resources. And right now I'm spending money on marketing, a new website, new demos, and that's thousands of dollars that I'm putting out. And so I may have to skip. I think it's, if you have extra time, money, and that's in your business plan, I think always go, because you just never know. It could even be a collaboration, even just with somebody, another actor, and you're like, oh, I love that too. Maybe we start a project together. I always say yes when you can. I think it's always good, but also be intentional about where your funds are going and how you're allocating them in terms of what is your actual marketing plan. And this year, I'm really wanting to be very laser focused. So I may skip this year, just for financial reasons, so that I can build the business even more, so that next year I can afford to go, without going, is that going to kind of take away from my great demos that I want to put out there or whatever. But
can I piggyback on something you just said?
Please.
You also can think about, David and everyone, how you can create a conference experience in where you are. Meaning, almost every person I'm close with in VO is either the dojo or I met at a conference. So I'm not going to ever say a conference isn't a powerful place. It's extremely powerful place to be. And my favorite is that's voiceover, for lots of reasons I can talk about later. It's just a more curated experience, and I love that. The people are very, very vetted. You're not going to get any fluff or junk there, and I love that. But are there meetup groups in your city already for voice actors? Could you start a meetup group? The local talent agencies usually have some kind of meetup. So I would say take advantage of those things. Then if you decide to go, you'll be ready. You'll be like, oh, it is kind of awkward. And I do need to work on my meet and greet skills or whatever it is, right? I do need to have a demo ready or my website so that people can know how to connect with me. I'd say try to create a VO Atlanta, or not VO Atlanta, just a conference experience in your own town. How many dojo fight clubs can you hop on to connect with top agents in
Yeah,
Catherine?
you can do that here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Kat, Steph, anything?
Yeah, I want to build on this, this idea of relationshiping versus networking is that's a big part of why I've gone to conferences. And to follow up on Shannon's idea of making a project, I keep forgetting I'm producing an animated series right now. It's currently, we've done the pilot and we've released, I can drop it in the chat. We've released just as of yesterday 15 episodes of like little life tips. We're releasing them as audio only for now, and then they're going to be an animated series. That started at VO Atlanta. I'll just quickly kind of do the reverse engineering of that because I find it very helpful. A fellow that I had never met in person, just kind of knew through the Midwestern VO markets. He was, his name's Mike Carnes, lovely guy in Nebraska, and I was in Minnesota at the time. And we met in person at VO Atlanta, and I specifically attended his. So once you're like an established VO professional, you can start presenting. Some of us have presented at these events. And he was presenting on how to get work in the like meditation and sleep story world, and I was like, ooh, that's right up my alley. I've got like 35 years of yoga and meditation behind me, and I listen to sleep stories almost every night. So I loved his presentation. But then afterwards I said, hey, I see you're already doing all this, like, you're already working with all these clients. Do you want like a female version of you to like build together? And so now we're like friends, and we came up with this idea of like an audio only sleep story meditation kind of self-help stuff. But then when I pitched it at the Catalyst Festival to PBS was like, oh my gosh, we've been looking for you. Let's have a meeting right away. We absolutely want to, can you do it as an animated series instead of audio only? And I was like, yes, I can. But all that happened at VO Atlanta. And I've been there twice, I think, at a different VO Atlanta. I met this lovely Polish guy who speaks like 7 languages and tours the world doing voiceover on his motorcycle, like travels on his big motorcycle around the world. He introduced me through that connection. He introduced me to my German agent, my agent in Germany, who hands me commercials and corporate narrations all the time. I've never had to audition for him, and he's a large part of my portfolio diversification. So there are 2 examples of like huge things going on in my career right now that started just by going to VO Atlanta and just focusing on being of service, being open to like possibilities, and just relationshiping, building those relationships.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
that's oftentimes at the dojo, we talk about these like little semantic shifts, these little mindset shifts that change everything. Shannon said earlier, there is no they, there's only we. Every time you're interacting with anybody at an audition and it's like it's we, you've already got the job. Huge. And this reframing, rephrasing, remind setting, re-heart setting, that we're not networking. What am I here to get? What am I going to get from you? We're here to build relationships and be able to help each other. So yeah, it's huge what happens when you shift that in your mind, what's possible. Yeah. Steph, anything in terms of what David was talking about? And then we will get to James, and we will get other hands. But isn't it interesting, guys, how one person can say a couple, well, David had a lot of things that's on his mind, but first of all, that we all have all of these things on our mind, but like each one of these things we can go, okay, let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, here's
That's
another.
thanks to Pete's coffee, by the way.
That's okay. Yeah. But yeah, Steph, anything that you'd share?
No, I feel like you guys all pretty much covered it, especially specifically to some of the events that are happening. I think that when you are starting out, especially, that it is really good to go to these events because you'll actually be able to take classes and learn some more stuff. So it's sort of like a supercharged, focused area with different types of teachers and different things. You can see what resonates with you as well. And that's why it's always so important that the dojo shows up to that, because we want to kind of make sure people know about the dojo. And yeah, go ahead. No,
I was just also going to say, there is something, if you have been approaching this like alone in your closet, to go through the little tunnel of getting to Atlanta and then go, oh, It's all voiceover, like encountering the magic realm, the magic kingdom of all of voiceover, and recognizing that that is something that exists, and then you stepping through that threshold, like you can be a part of it. I think that there's something about that. And then, Steph, do you have anything to share in terms of like just about in brief, but a mindset about you have the broadcast experience and you know about adjusting it, but in brief, like what would you say to David about mindset about that, and then how to approach it?
Well, I think I've worked with David before, and I'm like, take off your headphones, quit listening to your own voice. It's all the same stuff. Because really, there were many times when because I started off doing a little voiceover, and I was doing some work, and then I fell kind of ass backwards into radio and news anchoring and broadcasting and DJ stuff. None of it was what I had thought I was going to do. My whole life has been not things I thought I was going to do. But I had agents, when I was sort of shopping for agents, say, don't say that you did radio. I mean, they were really strong about that. And I took that advice. And after I got out of radio, I worked really hard to get conversational. So it is a muscle you have to kind of be able to turn off. And same with, there's some other people that we have who have beautiful natural voices, and they're used to, like I said, listening to their own dulcet tones. And I'm like, we don't want to train you out of that. You need to know when to turn that on and off. That's the thing. And say, this is one of my voice, this is my voice here if I do trailers or whatever. And I also am working to unlearn some things. And I worked very hard, Sensei Tish will know. I worked with Nancy Wolfson, who beats her students into a pulp, basically. and that's what I needed to learn how to be conversational. So understand that, we're not trying to change anybody's DNA. We're not trying to change, maybe, especially if it's where your natural gifts are. We are trying to remind you of all these different versions of your authenticity.
That's
And, and so that's especially important for people who are from a theater background, or who are from a, KPCC, FM 109, blah, 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 those backgrounds. Because I still have that in me. It waits to come out. And every now and then an audition's like announcer. And I'm like, what? I don't know what to do. I get so excited. Not that I book it every time, but at least I get to let the poor thing out for some fresh air,
Sometimes
So anyway.
I call this, if you've been trained in one sport, trust that you're an excellent athlete and that you're training for another sport. And that's another way to do it. Okay, fantastic. Let's go to James and let's see. So, David, thank you for opening up. This is why we need community. This is why we do this together. If James, I see James and Joshua and Steve. If you can focus on maybe one question or like one or two things, then we can go round robin and get everybody's insights. But yeah, James, thank you for your patience, and let's hear what your questions or thoughts are.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. Hi, I'm new to the dojo, so I'm kind of just introducing myself, really. I'm being a sponge and soaking up all of this amazing information. So I'm super grateful to all of you, Tish, Sensei, dojo members, particularly for the community, particularly for where we are currently in the world. And I think it's so important for me to feel, part of a community, and I'm excited to connect with like-minded folk, professionally. I have a deep theatrical background. I really hear Stephanie when she was, when she said that about kind of like, the different versions of my authenticity. I originally trained as a classical actor, but I moved into directing, theatrical directing. I did VOs and radio plays, when I early in my acting career. But being a director, I kind of moved away from that arena. So I guess I've been VO and adjacent for a long time. And just as I guess the universe would have it, I've been very interested in starting kind of audiobook narration. And my mentor, some of you may know, Deanna Anthony, who's a friend and mentor to me, has really helped me over the past few months. You know, I've updated my website. Now have an in-home professional studio. So I really am kind of chomping at the bit and to kind of like gain traction, you know, with the skill set that I have, just like you were saying, Tish, about being an athlete, that I utilize those skills kind of in a broader arena. I'd love to do video game voiceovers too. It's something I would be very excited to participate in that. But I don't know if I have any questions. I realize time is short, but I just wanted to say hello again and thank you so much. It's great to be here and great to be on the path with all of you fabulous folk. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And James just demonstrated relationshiping. We're all on this call now. We know James. We know a little bit about him, and we can reach out and keep in touch. Things that I would say, James, is like everything that everyone has done in your life to here are ingredients. And having a theater background as a performer is fantastic. Every single one of us has to be really extremely skilled at self-direction now more than ever. So if you understand directing others, then you probably I think there's also some adjustment to building those skills so you can direct yourself, but you have an understanding that those things go together and how they work. So keep on trusting that's all part of the ingredients. Like we kind of introduce, like, in my superpower is kind of this, and my superpower, like, those are superpowers. And then I would say how do we keep that, like, that chomping at that bit feeling, that like, yeah, my head's on fire, gotta go. And then also be patient and recognize that we are envisioning something that's a long-term thing, and that starting a new business or opening, even if you've been in the business, starting this version of your new businesses take time to establish. And that it doesn't happen like, hey, boom, hey, suddenly, da, 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 da. So just recognizing this combination of so this is a mindset, heart set thing. I call it the locomotion of desire. Sometimes it's with internal training of, I want everything, I'm ready, I got everything I need, let's go. And then there's like, I don't know anything, who am I kidding, what the hell, I can't do this alone, right? So if you put those things together, we always want them to going here and then figuring out how to go that, so you don't get so far ahead of yourself, like, I'm so great and what the hell is with people, or you don't go like, oh, I can't do this, it's too much, I can't, it's overwhelming, and why is no one saying you I have what I have to offer, right? So we just click into that, we find our own rhythm of that, and then trust it. Anything that anyone would like to share with James about things that he said? Senseis? No? All good. Well, welcome, and look forward to,
thank you.
Get on Anderson's schedule and we can talk. All right,
Great,
Joshua, let's hear you. Thank you too for your patience, and thank you all for stepping forward and giving us opportunity to meet you, to know you, and then giving us a chance to show everybody how things, how we approach things. So Joshua, what's your story, Morning Glory?
Hello. Yeah, I'll try to keep my story as concise as I can. I got into acting 10 years ago, my last year in college. So I've got a bachelor's in psychology. Started acting for the stage, and then 7 years ago joined Dad's Garage Theater, which is an improv in the Southeast. Have been doing that ever since. Started doing more on camera stuff about 5 to 6 years ago, and then started looking into VO during the pandemic, like so many people did. And last year I built a lot of momentum, made more money than I had previously in my career, and also won a voice award. So I'm building momentum and building steam. And speaking of networking, I actually met Anderson at VO Atlanta last year, just randomly talking before knowing about the dojo. He's a really cool dude, and I'm excited to keep growing alongside him. And yeah, I will be going to VO Atlanta this year if anybody else wants to connect. My question side of things is, because I had a good year last year, I just finalized my LLC, And so I was curious if Terri or Kat had any specific pointers, just because you both mentioned, starting businesses and being business minded about it. If you had any tips for just starting out for the LLC.
Uh,
But it's
yeah,
open to
sort
everybody
of.
as well.
Yeah, sort of. So, I started off with an LLC because you can go and get one tomorrow, which is great that there's not that barrier to starting a business, which is a wonderful thing in our country. Um, I found out actually through another VO webinar kind of training I went to, that LLCs are not great for everybody at every point in their career. So they ended up, my accountant ended up switching me to an S corp,
Yep,
which
mine
sounds
did
super
too.
fancy. Who's did too?
Shannon, mine did too.
Yes, sounds super fancy. Like you have to have meetings with yourself if it's just you and all that. It's weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I save apparently a lot of money by being an S corp. So I would say first, it's a good idea to run that past an accountant and let accountant help you figure out like what's going to be best. Because if you're growing rapidly, if you're making a certain amount of money, depending on your circumstances, I would definitely let my accountant help me save money with that.
Yeah, S corp is my next step this
Oh,
week.
is that what you're okay? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. That's what I've been advised. So thank you for
Oh,
confirming that.
cool. Okay. I'm just telling you what you're. I said you could have taught me
No,
that.
no, I appreciate it though. I appreciate it. I
Yeah,
could have
I'll
been
just
advised
add,
poorly.
my sister is a hotshot international microfinance consultant out in DC, and so I tend to go to her first for my financial and business advice. Thank you for telling me to get into precious metals a decade ago, because they're off the charts. And she just told me I didn't have to do any of that. And I talked to my tax advisor too, and they're like, "No, you're just an independent contractor." And I do a lot of union work that's just like W-2, W-4, regular business, with the tax contributions and everything. So I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but and my dad's an investment banker. So like I've asked my family and my tax advisor, and they're like, nope, just independent contractor. And the only thing is like when I'm launching life ups, I would do it for that. But the one concern is like if you're doing anything where you run the risk of someone like charging you, a lawsuit or you caused harm to someone. And that's not really something I've ever heard of in the voiceover world. So I just didn't worry about it. Just keep it simple, I guess, is mine.
And I would say, Joshua, that, first of all, congratulations on reaching a level that you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is a business. I think sometimes as performers, Anderson used to self-identify as a starving artist, right? Like, why would we identify with that? First of all, that's crazy. But when we start going like, oh, wait a minute, this is a business. So I would say really understand that this is a business from the beginning and, learn from my mistakes because when I first like had a big like, hey, look at all this money that's coming in. I'm gonna get a big Hollywood business manager, and I'm gonna and then I'm gonna start a corporation. Oh, you have to take care of a corporation. Oh. So my first corporation was called All's Well, like all is well, and all things shall be well. And then 2008 happened,
Yes.
and it was
Oh my
not
God.
so well. And
Exactly.
the big ass Hollywood business manager turned out to be total bullshit because I was such low potatoes. That was the most money I've had, but Arnold Schwarzenegger was making so much more money, but I had this thing in my head. And so I actually dissolved that and came back from that. And now my corporation is called Ends Well Creative, which allows all of the things. And I know so much more about the responsibilities of running a business and get super smart about what you need to do. Know that when you're an S corp, you also have whatever money you have coming in, you're responsible for payroll. So you have to make sure you set that money aside. You need to have tax money set aside if you're an S corp, and you also have to recognize that you may have a fantastic year this year, but next year might be dick. And so when money is flowing, make sure that you're smartly, wisely using that money and getting it working for you, because there will be times that it does not work out or something shifts or something is. So be smart when the money's flowing in, and be smart how you're using it and doing it. And I'm constantly learning and doing this myself. I'm very good at making money, and I'm continually going like, and take care of it, and take care of it, and take. So it doesn't stop. But first of all, we get to the place where like, how am I good at making money? And but put those things together from the beginning, you're golden. So, but run your business, and your business is your art form. And also, here's another mindset thing about this. I think sometimes when we come up when we come up as artists, we buy into that business is not creativity. And when we come up as not artists, we buy into creativity isn't business. And both are not accurate. Both are extraordinarily both. Business is the most creative. You can sit and go like, what do I want to do next? Okay, I want to do video games. Okay, what video games do I want to do? Who's doing video games? How can I meet those people? What could I be doing to make, like you can just go, and that's the fun, that's the joy, right? And then recognizing that the art form, you got to do these other things, that is running a business and understanding all the things that go with that. So
Tish, real quick, Stephanie's got to head out.
I have to head out. I have a private that we moved, one of the
Thank you
things
so
that we
much
do
for being
here.
here.
And thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you guys. And those of you coming from the background of 9 to 5 and the regular paycheck, start to explore the idea of freelance. It's a whole different world. And sometimes, like some of the things, Tish, I shouldn't even bring that up because I need to get moving. But something to think about, because it's freelance. So you do have to kind of juggle things a bit more for yourself, right?
Yeah,
So,
good. Thanks, Steph.
yes, thank you guys. I hope to see some of you soon.
Yeah, we'll wrap up in just a second here, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Steph. And I would even go further, because there's being an employee, there's being a freelance person, and there's being an entrepreneur. And recognize, and this is something that, I talked about that business section of our 7 areas of mastery. From the very beginning, let's instill in you, you are an entrepreneur. This is your business. You are the boss of your business. You are building your business. You are responsible for your business. Nobody owes you anything. You're not. Yes, there is something of how we're playing the game. There's parts of it that depend on somebody else choosing us, right? And then, as Sensei Kat was talking about, there's ways that we can, as entrepreneurs, develop a business so that we just build relationships with our repeating clients. We don't have to audition. We don't have to be chosen. We build our relationships and develop those clienteles. But it is an entrepreneurial endeavor, and if you approach it that way, then you take responsibility for it. Oh, my agent isn't getting me out. Well, that's because you're the boss. Get another agent. So talk to your team, right? Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful, Joshua. Steve, let's get your question in the room. Steve's part of our program. We'll talk about when it was time. Really, really good. And then we'll be wrapping up. I guess because it is 1:30. Before we get to Steve's question, if you can hang out. If not, we'll have the replay. But Kelsey, can you share how people can keep in touch if they want to talk more about how to become part of the dojo? And then if you need to we'll stay and take Steve's question. And then, thanks everyone for being here, and hopefully this was helpful and inspirational.
Yes, if you want to know more about the dojo, you can go claim your call in the chat over there. We'll be happy to connect with you. We also have a lot of stuff upcoming. We have You Should Do Voiceover February, because January is sold out. So if you would like to join us and give voiceover a shot, it's basically just a great overview of everything that voiceover has to offer and helps you explore, like, is this something I actually want to do? And
And
kind of
can
help.
I
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Can I add something, Kelsey? At the dojo, we don't look at Launchpad and workout as just for beginners. We think of it as the beginning and foundations of the journey. So wherever you are on your journey, we start at Launchpad and workout because it gets us on the same page, and then we can meet you where you are and hit the ground running. So even though it is the beginning of the journey, if you're at the beginning of your journey, it's also how we begin the journey at the dojo so we can, like Terry did, like, okay, here's where I am and here's where I want to go. So, yeah, keep on, Kels. Thanks.
Yeah, and then we have Kids Should Do Voiceover coming up this Sunday. If you have any grandkids in your life or kiddos that you think would be fantastic at voiceover, we have a special coach coming in for that one. And she has booked people Pixar, she has booked all kinds of things. So it's a wonderful thing for you to explore. And then we have coming up our VO Pro Fight Clubs. We have so many good, great people coming up. Let me post that in the chat. We have video games with DB Cooper. She casts for Skyrim Online and other Media. We have animation with Brenna Larson. She's casted for Rainbow High, LOL, House of Surprises, Bratz, all kinds of amazing things. Then we have Lisa Ortiz, who's the voice of Amy Rose in Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. She's also been on plenty of Disney XD, Sci-Fi, Cartoon Network, all kinds of things. She's also the current voice director of Pokemon Journeys and casts a lot of Pokemon, Dungeon Hunter, all kinds of things. Finally, we have Lisa Fishoff, who owns Broadcasters LLC, and does a lot of commercial casting for Netflix, TJ Maxx, Hershey's, all kinds of incredible brands. So yeah,
Yeah, she's one of the top casting directors in the New York market and now works with everybody around the country. Um, Thank you, Kels. That's really helpful. Now, Fight Club is a working pro workout. So to be a player, demo repped and booking is the criteria, or being part of nth degree or advanced belt levels in the dojo. Everyone can be a spectator. Um, if you are interested, put your email in the chat and we can send you a promo code to get a free spectator spot to check out um, the fight clubs and see how it fits in with your path and what your journey is. It really is something that from the very beginning you are watching, learning from both sides of the glass what happens in a real session from the very beginning of your journey. Yeah, so put that in there. That's our gift to you for being on this call. So thanks. All right. If you have to roll, thank you for being here. If you can stay for Steve's question, we'll be swift in our answering. Yeah, Steve, what's your question, or what did you want to bring into the room?
I'll be swift in my question, but I had six of them, so I'll just do
I
one.
know, because that's why you're here. That's why
So,
you're the program, yeah.
so just the background, I've been doing yellow. I'm a yellow belt. I just started like late last year. I have no acting background. I have drama background in my life, but that's it. And I just Tish, I feel like I need to be in front of the senseis more, like more things during the week for me to do. Like I can go into the business. I got questions for Stinson, mindset questions for Shannon, and I can pick the pieces apart. But I think you and I have talked about the fundamentals,
Mhm.
and I feel like I need to be like, I don't know if I need to enroll in something else, but I feel like I need to be in more of these audition, more of these director calls, just applying what you call the trade
Mhm.
in front
Well,
of
it's-
people.
well, it sounds like, Steve, we should touch base and that make sure that you know what all is available to you it as part of the program. Yeah, I mean, because we have we have there's a methodology. It's like stepping into full training. There's a methodology to how we explore these 7 areas of mastery, and it's a combination of small group workouts that work in different modalities to work different angles in real world settings of different ways that we're doing things. There's private coaching if you're at the top levels of the program. There's audition conditioning. So there's all of these things. So if you're feeling like you haven't connected, then it's good for you to say, hey, I don't know that I'm using all of this correctly, and let's find some time to talk with either Sarah, Alex, or myself and make sure that you're connected, because here we lay it all out for you, and it's what you're doing right now, going like, oh, wait a minute, I think I can take responsibility to take it, make sure that I'm incorporating all these things that are involved. We have monthly mindset calls. We have weekly M2M core small group workouts that are focused on developing self-direction. There's the weekly audition conditioning. Each week you're responsible for doing recording, editing, labeling, delivering, doing a self-assessment on a piece of copy, so you incorporate that into the rhythm of your daily life. You have access to the fight clubs if you're in core at least once a month. If you're in other levels of the program, more than twice a month. It's your responsibility to make the space. And the beautiful thing about this, when you're part of this program, you're creating the space that becomes the place that your business that is your voiceover business. So we create this place, and when you start in yellow belt and do all these things regularly, and you have all these things, and there's a structure for you to explore, not we're telling you exactly what to do, there's a structure for you to explore and commit to, then by the time you get to brown belt, you have this as part of your life. And when you step through that, when you cross that threshold into working pro, make those hours of mystery to mastery your business hours, and figure out what the next set of questions are to fill them. And then, that's the idea. Then there's a smooth transition. You don't need to worry about that stuff yet, a lot of stuff yet, because you're here. You're building, you're in development of your product, right? Yeah. So yeah. Thank you for saying that. And then also, the first rule of the dojo is know what you want, ask for it, people will give it to you if you allow. So we always have to go, I would like to be more, you just ask the question, like, know what you want. I would like to feel even more connected. I would like to know that I'm using all the resources that are here. Great, then ask about it. We're here to help, and, yeah, and then, yeah, it's good. So
can I set up a time with you to just make sure I sat down earlier in the month to go through the calendar, but I even missed something yesterday, but
yeah, I mean, Sarah's here, Alex is here. Yeah, let's email me and we'll find a time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're a little over. Thanks for everyone who stayed. As you're going, we'd love to hear what your dojo O is. That's how we finish every time that we come together. Everyone shares, like, what is one thing of all the things we covered? What made you go, oh, or oh, or oh? If you wanna put that in the chat as you're heading out, make sure to grab that voiceover once-over link if you're interested in hearing more or sharing more about where you're at and where you'd like to be. Get on Anderson's calendar, and we'd love to have you. And spread the word. If you know anybody else who might be interested, that this might resonate with, we are here to help. And the more super cool, talented, wonderful people that are here to be on the journey together, that are part of it. We just amplify our individual efforts and deepen how far we can go into who we are as people, who we are as voiceover artists, and who we are as business owners. So, yeah. And Sensei, thank you so much for being here. I know you guys are busy and have lots of stuff going on with Dojo and everything else, so really appreciate you taking the time to be here and start the year in this beautiful way. Anderson as well, and Kelsey keeping everything going, as making everything go. We all do everything together. So thank you all, and let me see if there's Dojo O's that are coming through. Great. Success looks different for everyone and doesn't have a timeline. Beautiful, Cricket. Yeah. Review all the previous. Yep. And art is my business. Business is an art. Love it. Beautiful. Beautiful. And yeah. All right. We did it. I'm going to go get some lunch. I'm starving in 2 hours later. All right. Thank you, everyone.